What's up, friends? Welcome into a very special episode of Tables, Tailgates, and Top Loaders. So happy to have you aboard for this episode. I am your host, TB. Thank you all very much for stopping in and checking out the 3 T's. Now, this is going to be a very different episode. We're only going to be focusing on one of the T's, and that would be the tailgate portion of the program because it is week 1. And what I wanted to do was do a little bit of a game preview between the Bills and the Ravens, and we're going to try something a little different. So we shall see how this goes. But I wanted to kind of give an overview of the game, check out maybe some key injuries, some X factors, what my stress level is heading into this game, and how do I see this game going? So before we break down this game against the Baltimore Ravens, I wanted to just hit a few news and notes items from the week since I recorded the last episode. Hard Knocks episode 5 finished wrapping up. That debuted on Tuesday. It was fine. Just what I figured. They went over cuts, roster cuts. They talked about guys being brought back to the practice squad. And just as I told you reviewing episode 4, every player, with the exception of Jimmy Charlo, ended up just being gone. So Charlo was brought back to the practice squad, and it was just like I said. It's hard for me to invest time and attention and care about guys that are just not going to make the team. But anyway, I thought it was a good episode. It was better than 4, and it wrapped up the preseason nicely. Had some good stuff in there about Josh Allen, but all in all, it wasn't great, wasn't terrible. I don't think if I had the choice, I don't think I'd be signing up to have Hard Knocks focus on the Bills again. It was fine. It was whatever. But as far as must-see TV, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, what else happened? Dwayne Carter tore his Achilles. This was a big blow for the young defensive player. He's obviously going to miss the whole season. So he's going to be placed on IR, which allowed them to elevate Sam Franklin Jr. to the main roster. Now he is going to be a primarily special teams player, and he's pretty good. So he does really well in this role, and hopefully he's ready to rock and roll for Sunday night. What else? The team captains were announced. Terrell Bernard, Josh Allen, no surprise. Same two as last year. I like the fact that there's not 15 guys walking out to midfield for the coin toss. It's JA17, it's Terrell Bernard. These guys are your clear leaders on your team. And so no issue there at all. Gabe Davis, everyone wants to hate on this story, but Gabe Davis was brought back to the practice squad and immediately placed on the injured list for that practice squad. So he's not allowed to practice, or he's not allowed to do anything for 4 weeks, I believe is the time frame. And then he can come back and rejoin the team, rejoin the practice squad, and we'll see what happens. But just relax. As we talked about before, this isn't a big deal. And if you need him as your 5th or 6th wide receiver somewhere down the line because of injuries, there's way worse options out there, in my opinion. The top 100 NFL list was finished. Saquon came in at number 1. You had Lamar at number 2 and JA17. Josh Allen came in at number 3. I'm fine with it. Whatever. You could flip-flop Lamar and Josh all day, every day. I don't really have a problem with it. It is what it is. One story I did find very amusing. ESPN did a simulation of the entire NFL season. They picked one simulation and they had the Bills win the Super Bowl over the Tampa Bay Bucks, and the score was crazy. The score was 55-23. So if we win 55-23, that would be amazing. You could literally leave at halftime if that's really the score and go get your place in line for the parade. So like 53 points in the Super Bowl, that would be amazing. What else happened? Matt Prater, the 41-year-old kicker, was signed to the practice squad. This is not good, folks. This is not good for Tyler Bass, T-Bass. I said at the end of the 3rd preseason game, he doesn't look right. He's been nursing a sore hip, some sort of leg hip issue he's been dealing with the entire preseason. And it's crazy that we are calling on a 41-plus-year-old kicker, but Prater, like, whatever. He's pretty solid, pretty whatevs. So it would not shock me to see him elevated from the practice squad for Sunday night's game. But that's all the news and notes I wanted to get into. Let's dive right in to this Week 1 preview. Bills versus Ravens, Sunday Night Football, 8:20, Highmark Stadium. This is the game of the week, and it's not particularly close. You have the last 2 MVPs going head-to-head. These are usually pretty even-matched games. Now, I know we got our asses kicked by the Ravens in the regular season last year. It wasn't particularly close, and then the playoff game happened. I think the Ravens outplayed us in that game, but they shot themselves in the foot time after time after time, and the Bills just didn't make any mistakes, so they kind of held on and just took advantage of the Ravens' errors and came away with a dub, and that's really all that matters. So it's going to be a crazy game. Let's go over some of the key injuries to the Bills. Obviously, we have Trey White. He has not been practicing for most of the week. And if Trey White is out, who the heck is starting with Christian Benford? They really haven't said anything. We will wait to see what the final roster for the game looks like, but it could be Jamarcus Ingram. It could be Dorian Strong. Who knows? But I've had my worries about the secondary. I know Christian Benford has been nursing an injury. Thank goodness he's a full go. He's been practicing in full. And Trey White, maybe he's a game time decision, but it's not looking too good. Not looking too good at all. As far as the rest of the defense, Cole Bishop's been out there. Everybody else looks pretty solid. I think we're ready to roll. Outside of T-Bass, I think the rest of these guys who've been kind of dealing with some little minor things here and there, the rest of these guys should be good to go. Other side of the ball, Ravens. Now, the Ravens are dealing with some bigger injuries, in my opinion. Isaiah Likely, the tight end for the team, they like to run 2 tight ends just like we do. I think Likely, I think Mark Andrews is a good player, regardless of what happened in the playoff game. I think he's a really good player, but Likely can take over a game, and he is one of the players that I just don't want to face. I think this guy could be a focal point of an offense. He's that good, and he hasn't been playing for quite some time, so it looks like he's going to miss the game. The other guy that they are not going to have, and don't underestimate the importance of him, Patrick Ricard, the fullback. This guy is a freaking tank. He's a beast. So if you don't get hit by Ricard, and then here comes Derrick Henry, it's like, oh my goodness, I don't want to get in the way of either one of these two guys. But it looks like he's going to be out. He's been dealing with a calf injury. This guy's good. Like, he's good. I know we don't really talk about fullbacks a lot, but he is a key integral part of their offense, and he really helps the Henry train go. So we shall see how this impacts their run game. And he's also a good blocker, so he's out there. I think he's a very important piece of their offense. We shall see how they go about making up for his loss there. Other than that, those look like the key injuries to look at. X factors on the team. Baltimore, no longer Justin Tucker. We know that last year his accuracy he didn't have the best year, and then that led to some of the off-the-field stuff, or vice versa. I don't know, but clearly there's a lot going on with Justin Tucker. He is no longer on the team, and they signed a rookie kicker, Tyler Loop, and from what I'm hearing, he's been having a great preseason, but rookie kicker coming into Highmark. Let's welcome him with open arms, Bills Mafia, and let's give him a fine, upstanding, polite applause whenever he comes out to kick field goals or extra points, and let's maybe make it a little difficult for him. So that's an interesting factor. But if you have Tyler Loop versus Matt Prater, 41-year-old, God, I hope this game does not come down to an extra point or a field goal opportunity at the last second, because yikes, I did not want to sign up for that after an incredibly long offseason. So what am I looking at as the key factors, the X factors to this game? A couple things. It's no secret that the Ravens have an incredibly awesome offense. They're like one of the top 3 offenses in the league for the last few years, led by Derrick Henry, led by Lamar. These guys are solid. It's just a freaking solid team. I don't see any weaknesses on this team really from top to bottom. They have a good team, a good bunch of backups. They have a lot of depth. I think their wide receivers are solid with Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. They even brought in DeAndre Hopkins. If he's your 3rd or 4th wide receiver, I mean, this guy, while he's not going to be a burner, he's not going to get past you and hit you for an 80-yard TD, up the seam or down the sidelines. I think this guy's hands are amazing, and he's always been a consistent catcher of the football through his career. So to have him there almost as a security blanket with the underneath stuff, I think that's a huge addition to the Ravens. Mark Andrews, everyone's talking that this is going to be his revenge game. Well, we shall see, right? And we all know about Derrick Henry. He's amazing. He's been amazing for 50 years that he's been in the league, but their backups are just as good too. So Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, these guys are solid on offense. And when they put these guys as the kickoff returners too, our special teams better be ready. So Sam Franklin Jr., welcome, bud. Welcome, because you are going to have your hands full on special teams Sunday night. I'm a little worried that we might come out flat, but we shall see. On the defensive side of the ball for the Ravens, they're solid. They're solid up and down. Obviously, Roquan Smith. Kyle Hamilton just signed the biggest safety contract in the history of the league. They brought in Jair Alexander. I know he's been dealing with some injuries, but he is allegedly set to play. He's a pretty decent player. I do think we can move the ball in this team. It's going to come down to Dawson Kincaid, Jesus. Dalton Kincaid. This is the year, like coming out of the gates, year 3, a hyped prospect. We invested a lot in this guy as far as draft stock. He is our guy. This is the game. He needs to show up for the game. The Ravens usually struggle dealing with athletic pass catching tight ends, and this is the game for him to really step up and push himself into the upper echelon of tight ends and say, okay, I'm ready. Year 2, he dealt with some injuries. Year 1 was very inconsistent, even though he set the tight end record for Buffalo as far as receptions for a tight end, but this is it. This is where he's got to step up his game. This is the game right here. I hate to overstate the importance of a week 1 game, but the Ravens are our competition. I don't even really want to talk about the Chiefs. We'll see what happens with the Chiefs. Like, whatever. We'll deal with the Chiefs later in the season. The Ravens, in my opinion, it's us and the Ravens for that number 1 seed. I think these are the 2 best rosters from top to bottom. The 2 best teams, all in all. They have amazing quarterbacks. They're great. So to have this heavyweight matchup between your last 2 MVPs right off Jump Street, right off week 1, this is super important. And everyone's going to be like, well, it's still only 1 win and it doesn't really matter. Well, no. Because this could be essentially a 2-game swing in the standings for home field advantage for that number 1 seed. We need this game. This game is super important. And so, yeah, going back to it, the X factor for me personally on offense is Dalton Kincaid. He needs to get rolling right off the block, take advantage of some of the weaker spots, take advantage of the Ravens' inability to kind of contain tight ends historically. Maybe they've changed their defensive scheme this year and somebody else needs to step up. Maybe we see Josh Palmer right out Jump Street really turn it on and welcome him with open arms to the Mafia. But DK86, this is your time to shine. I need to see you come back strong after dropping the last ball of the season last year. You got to come out on fire. Be ready to go. I want to see it. Let's go. As far as the defensive side of the ball, the Bills spent the offseason restocking the defense. That's what they did. That's what the goal was. And it's funny because they signed Larry Ogunjobi, well, he's suspended. They signed Michael Hoyt. Well, he's suspended. So then they invested all this draft capital. Well, last year's defensive tackle, we just talked about it, Dwayne Carter, torn Achilles. So he's out. So who am I looking at as the key to the defense? Joey Bosa, you are up, my friend. This is what we pay you for. I need you to step up and show out week 1. I need this defensive line to be in full freaking attack mode. This could be the key to the game right here. Our defensive line against the Ravens offensive line. Joey Bosa, this is what you need to do. Welcome to Buffalo. Establish your dominance like you have. Step up and show out, because as far as I'm concerned, you crush this game. You make a few. Give me three game-changing plays. Give me 3 game-changing plays, and then we will put you in bubble wrap until what? What is it? Week 9, week 10 when the Chiefs come to town? I don't even need you to play for the next 6-7 weeks after this game. Show up here. We'll put you on ice. You can rest for the next 2.5 months, and we'll see you in Orchard Park when the Chiefs come to town, because this is the most important game that we need you for. This is what we brought you here for. To me, Joey Bosa, the X factor, week 1 defensively for the Bills. Stress factor. This, every week when we're going to do this, we're going to try to do a little game preview. I'm going to give you what my stress meter of the game is. And right off Jump Street, my stress meter for this game is off the charts. So if we're going to do it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I can fall asleep and not care about losing, I'll wake up and it'll be 55-23, like the Super Bowl prediction. No stress at all. 10 being, oh my God, I don't think I could sleep for a week leading up to this game. This game is like an 8.5, 9 for me. I'm super stressed about this game. I know it's going to be a great game. This is what it's all about, folks. This is what you want to see. Last year we had kind of a soft opener against the Cardinals, and historically, if you look back in the last 7 years or so, our record is so and so. It's okay. I think we're 4-3 in the last 7 games, 7 openers. We've had some absolute dumpster fires, some absolute piles of crap that we've dropped in week 1, and I really, really don't want to see this. Everyone remembers the Jet fiasco where Aaron Rodgers blows his Achilles, but yet, the savior, Mike White, who's no longer on the Bills, he comes in and manages to, was it Mike White? Or was it, It doesn't freaking matter. Whoever the backup was at the time manages to come in and beat the Bills because Josh Allen had probably the worst game of his 8-year career at that point and crapped all over the place and threw pickles all over and fumbles, and it was a disaster. So I don't want to see that. We lost to the Steelers a few years back. That was a ridiculous game. So I want to come out guns blazing. Let's show the world Sunday night where we're at, but it's going to be a stressful game. So yeah, I'm at the 8.5, 9 out of 10 scale as far as my stress meter. It's going to be crazy. The spread of this game has changed the whole offseason. Ever since the schedule came out, the Bills were a 1.5 point favorite in this game up until a day ago, and the line suddenly shifted. So people are betting the Ravens, and now the Ravens are a 2-point favorite. Going into Orchard Park, that's like 5 points. So almost a touchdown. The favorite, I mean, if you consider home field advantage normally gives you 3 points and the Ravens are favored by 2, that's like a 5-point swing. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I can see it. Everyone is raving about the Ravens, no pun intended, but they say their roster is probably one of the best 2-3 rosters in the league. I can't really dispute that, but we shall see what happens week 1. And then finally, folks, we're going to get to my prediction. Now, I have gone back and forth on this so many times. It's hard doing predictions, like objective predictions, as a huge member of the Mafia, as a huge lifelong Bills fan. It's hard to not let your heart get in the way. I've gone back and forth with, we're going to blow them out. And, it's like, really, what are the chances that we actually blow out the Ravens in week 1? I mean, 5% chance. I don't see this game being a blowout either direction. If one team wins by more than 10 points, I will be shocked. So I've kind of gone back and forth on this, but I think this is going to be extremely close, tough game for both teams. I think it's going to be high scoring because I think the defenses are going to have some work to do to get some of the kinks out. But like I said, this is going to come down to our defensive line. If our defensive line can kind of contain Lamar, keep him in check, put some pressure on him, force him into some bad decisions, maybe we can get a turnover or 2, and I think that will be the difference. But I see Orchard Park, Bills Mafia, it's your time to shine. We have to be ready to roll on national TV at 8:20. Whatever you got to do, make it hurt, make them not want to be there. And I think we can maybe squeak out a dub because that's the important thing here. Just survive in advance. So I see this going, 31-28 Bills. We win with a Matt Prater 47-yard field goal to win the game at the wire. There you go. There's my prediction. 31-28 Bills win. We start 1-0, and then we could kind of kick it into low gear and wait for some of our reinforcements to get back after their suspensions, after their trips on the IR. And I think this team is going to look completely different in the second half of the year. I really do. Once we get Trey White back and running, once we get Hairston back and going, Michael Hoyt, Okunjobi, I think this team is going to look extremely different. That's why I'm so worried about week 1, because I think this game versus the Ravens is going to look very different than the game we play against the Chiefs. I think it's going to be almost like a completely different team. So we shall see what happens. But there you go. I wanted to do a little quick game preview. I hope you all enjoyed this overview, this podcast. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave me a review wherever you can. I hope you enjoy the game Sunday night. I will be there. We are leaving early Sunday, take the 6-hour drive, and we will start tailgating. And hopefully it'll be a good time up in Orchard Park. The weather looks a little bit on the chilly side, but hey, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Thanks for listening. I appreciate you all very, very much. So until next time, whether it's ripping packs, breaking tables, or dropping elbows, keep doing what you love. And as always, go Bills.